Welcome back, basketball family. It is Thursday, May 14th, 2026, and the landscape of the National Basketball Association is shifting right beneath our feet. If you have been paying attention to the hardwood over the last 48 hours, you know exactly what I'm talking about. We are standing at a monumental crossroads in basketball history. We are witnessing the definitive end of an era, a changing of the guard that has been teased, predicted, and debated for the better part of a half-decade, but it is finally, undeniably here. The air feels different today. The storylines dominating the sports pages and the timelines are not about the same two titans who have held the league in a vice grip since the early 2000s. No, today, the conversation is about the new rulers of the realm. Today, we are breaking down the Oklahoma City Thunder's absolute dominance, the New York Knicks' gritty, blood-and-guts resurgence, the pursuit of the ultimate prize, and the wild, unexpected redemption arc of Jordan Clarkson. But to truly understand where we are going, we have to talk about who we just left behind. Just 2 days ago, on May 12th, the Oklahoma City Thunder walked into Los Angeles and shut the door on the Lakers season, winning Game 4 of the Western Conference semifinals 115-110. And with that final buzzer, an eerie silence fell over Los Angeles, and perhaps over an entire generation of basketball fans. LeBron James, in his 23rd season, at 41 years old, played 40 grueling minutes. He poured his heart out on the floor, registering 24 points, pulling down 12 rebounds, and dishing out 3 assists. But it was not enough. The youth, the speed, the relentless execution of the Thunder were simply too much. And as LeBron walked off the court, looking up at the scoreboard, you had to wonder, is this it? In his post-game press conference, a visibly exhausted James uttered the words that sent shockwaves through the sports world. "I don't know what the future holds for me." It was a stark contrast to the invincible aura he has projected for 2 decades. And if LeBron's exit wasn't enough of a reality check, remember that we haven't seen Stephen Curry on a basketball court since April 18th. The Golden State Warriors, the dynasty that defined the modern era of basketball, stumbled to a 37-45 record this season, finishing 10th in the West. In their qualification round game against the Phoenix Suns, Steph gave it everything he had, logging 36 minutes, scoring 17 points, and adding 4 rebounds and 4 assists. But the magic that once routinely bailed them out was gone. The Suns dismantled them 111-96. And now, the reports are circulating that Steph has internally set his retirement date, looking to play maybe 2 more seasons before hanging up the greatest shooting stroke the game has ever seen. So, with LeBron packing his bags in the second round and Steph watching from home for a month, the throne is officially vacant. The kings are dead. Long live the new kings. And who are these new kings? Look no further than the Midwest and the Mecca. In the Western Conference, the Oklahoma City Thunder are no longer the cute, up-and-coming story of the league. They are the terrifying, undisputed Juggernaut. They rattled off a staggering 64-18 regular season record, boasting a win percentage of 78%. They scored 119 points a night while holding opponents to 107. They didn't just beat teams, they suffocated them. They are a perfectly constructed basketball machine, and their dismantling of the Lakers was just a warm-up act. They are looking at the Western Conference Finals as their birthright at this point, waiting to see if San Antonio or Denver will emerge to challenge them. And then, there is the Eastern Conference. The absolute bloodbath that is the East. Right now, all eyes are on the New York Knicks. They finished the regular season 53-29, securing the 3rd seed. But their path is a gauntlet. Right now, today, they are locked in a vicious 2-2 tie with the top-seeded Detroit Pistons, who won an incredible 60 games this year. Game 5 is tonight in Detroit, and the tension is palpable. The Knicks are trying to do something that seems completely unreasonable on paper. Go through the powerhouse Pistons, and likely the Boston Celtics, just to reach the finals. But this Knicks team thrives on the unreasonable. They are built for the trenches. But the most fascinating subplot of this entire Knicks playoff run isn't just the stardom of their core. It is the story of a man who many thought was washed, finished, an afterthought in the modern NBA. I am talking about Jordan Clarkson. Think back to last summer, June 30th, 2025. The Utah Jazz buy out Clarkson. He clears waivers. He is 32 years old, coming off a season where he averaged 16 points on a struggling team, and the critics are loud. They say he's an empty stats guy. They say he doesn't contribute to winning basketball. The Knicks sign him on July 7 for the veteran's minimum of $3.6 million. It was viewed as a flyer, a low-risk gamble for bench scoring. Throughout the regular season, the gamble looked shaky. Clarkson faced stretches of completely falling out of the rotation. Did not plays were racking up next to his name on the box score. The trade deadline came and went in February, and he stayed put. Many wondered if he would demand out, but he kept quiet. He stayed ready. And now, in the crucible of the 2026 playoffs, Jordan Clarkson has been reborn. In a series against Detroit where every half-court possession is a rock fight, Clarkson's ability to create his own shot, to provide instant offense off the bench, has become the X-factor the Knicks desperately needed. He is chasing his first championship ring, and suddenly, the idea of Jordan Clarkson lifting the Larry O'Brien Trophy in Madison Square Garden doesn't sound crazy anymore. It sounds like destiny. So, buckle up, everyone. Because today, we are going deep. We are going to analyze the unprecedented rise of this Oklahoma City dynasty in the making. We are going to break down the anatomical makeup of this New York Knicks squad and how they are surviving the Eastern Conference meat grinder. We will explore the tactical advantages each team holds as we look ahead to the conference championships, and we will dissect exactly how Jordan Clarkson went from the waiver wire to the most crucial bench player in the playoffs. Grab a drink, get comfortable, because this is the comprehensive breakdown of the 2026 NBA playoffs. Let us begin by dissecting the beast that resides in the Midwest. The Oklahoma City Thunder are a testament to the power of patience, elite scouting, and ruthless execution. When we look back at the history of this franchise, there has always been a lingering shadow of what could have been. The 2012 run with Durant, Westbrook, and Harden feels like a lifetime ago, a cautionary tale of a dynasty that dissolved before it could truly reign. But general manager Sam Presti learned from history. He accumulated draft capital like a dragon hoarding gold, and he didn't just draft well, he drafted perfectly. This 2025-26 season is the culmination of that grand design. 64 wins. 18 losses. Let those numbers wash over you. In a Western Conference that is perpetually a bloodbath, winning 64 games is an absurd accomplishment. They went 34-7 at home. The Paycom Center has become a fortress, a loud, intimidating venue that routinely swallows opposing teams whole. But their road record is equally terrifying, 30 wins and only 10 losses away from home. This tells you everything you need to know about their mental toughness. They do not get rattled. The engine of this machine, without question, is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He has transcended the label of a star and has firmly planted himself in the pantheon of unguardable offensive forces. His game is a masterclass in rhythm, pace, and deceleration. He doesn't overpower you, he dissects you. But what makes this Thunder team fundamentally different from the heavy isolation teams of the past is the supporting cast. Chet Holmgren has evolved into a defensive, terrifying presence. He alters the geometry of the court. Opposing guards drive into the paint and immediately start looking for the exit because Holmgren's rim protection is absolute. On the offensive end, his ability to space the floor as a true 7-footer stretches defenses past their breaking point. And then you have Jalen Williams, the ultimate connective tissue. He can be your primary stopper on defense, your secondary playmaker on offense, and your go-to scorer in a pinch. When we look at how they dispatched the Los Angeles Lakers in the second round, it was a clinic in modern basketball strategy. The Lakers, a solid 53-win team, tried to slow the game down, tried to bully the Thunder in the half-court, relying on LeBron James to dictate the tempo. But Oklahoma City's transition offense is a tidal wave. Off every missed Laker shot, and even made baskets, the Thunder pushed the pace with terrifying efficiency. They ran the 41-year-old James ragged. In that decisive Game 4, the Thunder survived a barrage of punches. The Lakers desperately wanted to send the series back to Oklahoma City, but the Thunder's poise in the clutch was remarkable. They execute their late-game sets with the cold precision of a veteran team, not a young squad. The 5-point victory, 115-110, was indicative of a team that knows exactly who they are and what they are capable of. Now, contrast that clinical precision with the absolute street fight happening in the Eastern Conference. The New York Knicks are not a machine, they are a force of will. They finished the regular season 53-29, a highly respectable record that earned them the 3rd seed. But nothing comes easy in New York. The media scrutiny, the pressure of Madison Square Garden, the weight of a championship drought that stretches back to 1973. It is a burden that has crushed many talented rosters. But not this one. This roster is built in the image of its city: tough, uncompromising, and relentless. The acquisition of players like Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby transformed them into a defensive nightmare for opposing wings. But the heart, the soul, and the undeniable king of New York is Jalen Brunson. Brunson's ascension from a very good player in Dallas to an absolute superstar in New York is one for the history books. He lacks the prototypical size of an elite guard, but his footwork, his basketball IQ, and his sheer competitive arrogance make him virtually unstoppable. He takes the biggest shots, he absorbs incredible physical punishment, and he constantly lifts his team out of the mud. And they are currently deep in the mud against the Detroit Pistons. The Pistons, let us not forget, are the #1 seed. They won 60 games. They have a brilliant young core led by Cade Cunningham, they are athletic, and they have depth. This series is tied 2-2, and every game has felt like a heavyweight boxing match. Home court advantage has been the only deciding factor so far, with both teams holding serve in their own buildings. The Pistons dominated at Little Caesars Arena, and the Knicks defended the Garden. As they head into Game 5 today, the pressure is immense. The Knicks struggle offensively when the game bogs down, relying heavily on Brunson to create magic out of thin air. Which brings us to the most fascinating individual narrative of these playoffs: the resurrection of Jordan Clarkson. To understand the magnitude of his current impact, we must rewind the tape. Clarkson was the 6th man of the year with the Utah Jazz. He was a flamethrower, a guy who could walk into an arena and give you 25 points off the bench on any given night. But as the Jazz pivoted towards a rebuild, Clarkson's role diminished. He became a high-volume shooter on a bad team, a profile that analytical front offices tend to shy away from. When he was bought out last summer, the market was surprisingly cool. When the Knicks scooped him up for a veteran minimum of $3.6 million, the reactions were polarized. Many pundits, and even portions of the fanbase, called it a terrible move. They pointed to his defensive deficiencies and his streaky shooting. They argued he would take the ball out of Brunson's hands, that he didn't fit the defensive-minded culture head coach Tom Thibodeau had instilled. And for a large portion of the regular season, the critics looked right. Thibodeau is notoriously strict with his rotations. If you do not defend, you do not play. Clarkson found himself glued to the bench. DNPs piled up. For a proud veteran, a former award winner, sitting on the bench for a playoff contender can be mentally destructive. We have seen players become toxic in locker rooms under similar circumstances. But Clarkson didn't break. He didn't complain to the media. He put his head down, he worked, and he waited for his number to be called. And in the playoffs, the game changes. Rotations shorten, yes, but the need for shot creation skyrockets. When defenses lock in, when they blitz Brunson and deny Bridges the ball, you need someone who can simply go get a bucket against a set defense. Enter the flamethrower. In this bruising series against Detroit, when the Knicks' offense has stagnated, Thibodeau has looked down the bench and called upon Clarkson. And Clarkson has delivered. He is playing with a level of controlled chaos that is completely disrupting the Pistons' defensive schemes. He is hitting pull-up threes in transition, he is attacking closeouts with a vicious first step, and most importantly, he is scoring when the team desperately needs a lifeline. He isn't asked to carry the team, he is asked to inject it with adrenaline. And the Madison Square Garden crowd, which demands effort above all else, has entirely embraced him. He has become a cult hero, the wild card that could swing a tightly contested series. At 32 years old, Jordan Clarkson has never won a championship. He was part of the Lakers during their down years. He had a stint with Cleveland that ended in finals heartbreak against Golden State, and his prime was spent in Utah where they could never quite get over the hump. Now, playing on a minimum contract, playing for his professional life, he is inches away from the Eastern Conference Finals. The narrative of the seasoned veteran, humbled by the league, finding his perfect role on a contender and securing his first ring is one of the most romantic storylines in sports. So, as we analyze the conference championship edge, we have to look at the contrasting styles and paths of these two potential finalists. The Oklahoma City Thunder hold the ultimate advantage in the West. Their path is not easy. Facing a 62-win San Antonio Spurs team or a battle-tested Denver Nuggets squad is terrifying, but the Thunder have proven they have the answers to every test. Their depth, their youth, and their overwhelming talent make them the heavy favorites to represent the West. They have the rest advantage, having dispatched the Lakers in 4 games, allowing their young legs to recover while their opponents beat each other up. The Knicks, on the other hand, are fighting a war of attrition. If they manage to survive Detroit, a task that requires winning a Game 7 on the road or stealing a game in the Motor City, their reward is likely a date with the Boston Celtics, a 56-win juggernaut waiting in the wings. The Knicks' path is brutal. It requires physical dominance, immense mental fortitude, and a reliance on a tight rotation that will be tested by fatigue. However, there is an intangible element to this New York team. They possess a collective belief that borders on delusion. They do not care about the odds. They do not care about the fatigue. They are fueled by the desperation of a city starving for a championship. If they reach the finals, if they meet Oklahoma City, it will be a clash of philosophies. The pristine, analytical perfection of the Thunder against the rugged, bruising willpower of the Knicks. And in a series like that, where the margins are razor-thin, a player like Jordan Clarkson becomes the ultimate swing factor. Can a veteran minimum signing, a player cast aside by a rebuilding franchise, hit the shots that swing a championship? In the modern NBA, where star power dominates the headlines, the ultimate irony would be a role player like Clarkson delivering the decisive blow. We are also forced to reckon with what this means for the broader league. The elimination of LeBron James and the absence of Steph Curry from these playoffs signify a massive power vacuum. For years, the question was always, who is going to beat LeBron? Or, who can outshoot the Warriors? Those questions are no longer relevant. The league is incredibly balanced, incredibly deep, and undeniably young. The ratings, the discourse, the energy of the sport are shifting. We are no longer watching the twilight of the gods. We are watching the dawn of a new era. The Thunder represents the ideal franchise-building model. They are the blueprint that every small-market team will try to emulate for the next 20 years. Draft well, maintain flexibility, and strike when the window opens. The Knicks represent the triumph of culture. They prove that even in the biggest media market in the world, you can build a team founded on hard work, defensive principles, and unselfish play. As we look specifically at tonight's Game 5 between the Knicks and Pistons, the tactical adjustments will be fascinating. Detroit head coach Monty Williams has to find a way to get Cade Cunningham going. Cunningham was held to just 19 points in Game 4, stifled by the relentless pressure of Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby. Detroit needs their star to dictate the flow of the game. They need to get out in transition, leveraging their athleticism to prevent the Knicks from setting their half-court defense. For Tom Thibodeau and the Knicks, the directive is clear. Protect the basketball, win the rebounding battle, and survive the non-Brunson minutes. This is exactly where Jordan Clarkson's presence is magnified. When Brunson sits, the offense historically plummets. Clarkson must be the bridge. He must orchestrate offense, draw fouls, and keep the scoreboard ticking. If the Knicks can get 10 to 15 efficient points from Clarkson off the bench, it changes the entire calculus of the series. This entire situation, the rise of OKC, the grit of the Knicks, the fading of the old guard, the resurgence of an overlooked veteran, it highlights the beautiful, unpredictable nature of basketball. We spend 9 months predicting outcomes based on statistics and salary caps, but ultimately, the game is decided by human beings. It is decided by effort, by chemistry, by the willingness to sacrifice personal glory for collective success. The Thunder have achieved that collective harmony through youth and a shared vision. They play with a joyful arrogance, knowing they are faster, longer, and more skilled than almost everyone they face. The Knicks have achieved it through shared suffering. They are a collection of cast-offs, second-round picks, and players who had to fight for everything they have in this league. They play with a chip on their shoulder the size of the Empire State Building. As we inch closer to June, the anticipation is building to a fever pitch. We are guaranteed a new champion. We are guaranteed new faces holding the trophies. Will it be Shai Gilgeous-Alexander cementing his status as the best player on the planet? Will it be Jalen Brunson etching his name alongside Willis Reed and Walt Frazier in New York lore? Will Jordan Clarkson finally get the ring that has eluded him his entire career? These are the questions that make this specific postseason so incredibly captivating. There is no inevitable conclusion. The script is being written in real time, possession by possession, game by game. As we wrap up this massive dive into the state of the 2026 NBA playoffs, I want to leave you all with a final thought on legacy. We place so much emphasis on rings in the NBA. We use them to rank players, to define careers, and to validate greatness. But the journey to a championship is rarely linear. It is filled with heartbreak, failure, and agonizing near misses. Look at LeBron James and Steph Curry. Between them, they have defined a generation of basketball. They have the rings, the MVPs, the undeniable legacies. But even they are not immune to the relentless march of time and the influx of new talent. Their current situations serve as a stark reminder of how incredibly difficult it is to stay at the top of the mountain. Then look at the Oklahoma City Thunder. They are standing at the base of that mountain, looking up, armed to the teeth and ready to conquer it. They have the talent, they have the system, and they have the hunger. They are the terrifying realization of a rebuild gone perfectly right. And finally, look at the New York Knicks and Jordan Clarkson. Their story is a testament to resilience. It is proof that in this league, your story is never truly written until you decide to put the pen down. A team built on toughness, leaning on a player who was all but forgotten, fighting for the ultimate prize in the world's most famous arena. It is the kind of narrative you couldn't pitch to a Hollywood studio because it sounds too contrived, but it is happening right in front of our eyes. The conference championships are looming. The stakes have never been higher. The tension is palpable. I believe the Oklahoma City Thunder have the undeniable edge in the West. They are simply playing a different game right now. But in the East, I am not betting against the sheer willpower of the New York Knicks. If they can survive Detroit, if they can somehow navigate past Boston, a Thunder versus Knicks finals would be an absolute spectacle. A clash of styles, a clash of markets, and a clash of eras. Thank you all for sticking with me through this deep dive. If you enjoyed this comprehensive breakdown of the playoff landscape, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. Drop a comment down below and let me know who you have coming out of the East and the West, and tell me if you think Jordan Clarkson is finally going to get that championship ring. Enjoy Game 5 tonight, enjoy the rest of the playoffs, and I will see you all in the next video.